Hello grade 11 learners and welcome to this video on the introduction to creative writing. So once again, let me remind you that since this is a writing class, you're all expected to produce written outputs. And here, in this case, written outputs which are presented in a creative way. What is this that I'm talking about? Let me proceed to our lesson for you to know more. So creative writing. Creative writing is a form of writing where creativity is at the forefront of its purpose through using imagination, creativity, and innovation in order to tell a story through strong written visuals with an emotional impact, like in poetry writing, short story writing, novel writing, and more. Creative writing is often the opposite of technical or journalistic or academic writing. So creative writing in this subject class, your imagination could be of great use because the kind of writing that you do here is the ones that would appeal to the emotion. Your writing or your written output should have emotional impact to your readers. In this subject, you are expected to write first, a descriptive paragraph, second, a poem of your own, third, a short story of your own, and fourth, you're expected to write your own drama script. And we know that creative writing is the opposite of academic writing. Academic writing, examples of which are the ones found in newspapers, the ones found in your textbooks, the user's manual, and other stuffs like that. Creative writing is just imagine or just think of those stories, the poems, and the drama scripts that you've read. Those are examples of creative writing. Next. So technical or academic writing versus creative writing. So technical writing is based on facts and concepts. So just like in your mathematics book, for example, we don't deal with characters there. We don't deal with fairies and animals. We don't deal with fictional characters. Rather, we deal with facts and concepts. But in creative writing, like in Wattpad, that is an example of a creative writing. General writing is based on imaginations and creativity. So mostly characters are not real, but maybe in some stories which are based on true life stories, still there is creativity in there because we twist plots and events to create emotional impact to the readers. Second, technical writing is straightforward, while in creative writing, it's more on symbolic. So, in technical writing, when you say the flower rose, example, rose, technical writing, rose is a flower, and that's it. But in creative writing, rose can be used in many different ways, such as symbolizing love. Red rose would symbolize love. White rose would symbolize purity, and so on and so forth. One thing could mean a lot for creative writing. Unlike in technical writing, that what you read is what it is. Third, in technical writing, the audience on specific, the readers are very specific. Like when we read magazine articles about engineering, I guess not everybody would be interested to read those kinds of articles, rather only those engineers. But in creative writing, the viewer, or I mean the audience and the reader is generic. Example, the story Cinderella. It can be read to young kids, boys and girls, and it can still be entertaining to some adults like us. We are still entertained and we can still relate to those things. Unlike in technical writing, that when it is an article about science or chemistry, only those who are inclined in those fields will be able to get and understand. Lastly, the purpose of technical writing is basically to inform, and educate, while the purpose of creative writing is to entertain, provoke, and inspire. That's why you feel kilig when you read Wattpad, and you feel angry with some characters when you read those kinds of things. But in technical writing, you don't steer your emotion. What you steer is your mind. That's why most of the time, reading technical writing is labeled as boring because you don't feel anything, and it seems that it's so difficult to understand because you can't somehow relate. But in creative writing, you feel the emotion. So that is the kind of writing that you're going to produce in this subject. So how do we achieve all these things expected in a creative writing? That it should highlight imagination, it should include symbolic content, it should have an emotional impact. So there are things that we can use, and all those things have been, you've studied this in the past weeks. These are the language of creative writing, the imagery, diction, and figures of speech. Imagery, according to your module, um, is a general term that covers the use of language to represent objects, actions, feelings, thoughts, ideas, states of mind, and any sensory experience. It is a figurative language used to appeal to the senses through vivid descriptive language. Imagery creates mental pictures in the reader as they read the text. In short, the very purpose of imagery class is to create mental picture. This is where our five senses get in. That is why you as a writer, you have to make your reader see what you see, taste what you taste, smell what you smell, hear what you hear, and feel what you feel. If you could not deliver those things to your readers, then the one that you are writing, the kind of writing that you are doing is not creative writing at all. Because creative writing would always have imagery. So those five senses, you need to bear those in mind when you write. Example, you would say, today is sunny day. Oh, that's technical. But when you do creative writing, you would really include, like for example, the wind breeze cools my skin as I see the scorching sun rising up the blue sky. Example like that. So basically, creative writing is lengthy compared to technical writing because you really have to include all those imagery that you've learned in the past weeks. Next, diction. This one establishes tone or mood. Tone and mood are basically the same in the sense that they refer to emotion. However, tone is the emotion of the author, while mood is the emotion of the reader. Please don't get confused. When I was still in college, I usually got confused with these two. Just remember that when we speak of tone, it has a letter T, so it means author because author has letter T on it also. Tone to author, mood to reader because mood has letter D, or that is for reader. Or that's how you remember it easily. So this refers to establishing tone and mood. So this is about emotion. Diction refers to the selection of words in a literary work. A work's diction forms one of its centrally important literary elements, as writers use words to convey action, reveal character, imply attitudes, identify themes, and suggest values. It includes the formality of the language, the emotional content, the imagery, the specificity, and the sounds of the words. But basically, again and again, you have to be careful in choosing your words as you write because this will dictate the emotion that you want your readers to feel. If you remember the story of Icarus and Daedalus, we were able to feel the pain felt by the father because of the words used by the author. That's how diction works. And lastly, the third language of creative writing is figures of speech. Your module mentioned that figures of speech are words or phrases used in a non-literal sense for rhetorical or vivid effect. The very purpose of figures of speech is to emphasize meaning. But remember that figures of speech are non-literal in meaning. For example, you say, I cried a river when you left. So I cried a river means you really cried, I really cried so hard. That is to emphasize, just to emphasize that um, I felt very sad. I really felt bad and I was really in much pain when you leave. But of course, it doesn't mean that I really cried a river because it's so impossible for me to cry a river for someone. So that is only to emphasize meaning. So that's it. That is all for our review for week 1 and week 2. And since I already mentioned that many of you were not able to do your activities well, I am giving you the chance now to redo some of your activities for week 1 and week 3 in particular. So I am going to collect this work next week. So what is this that I'm talking about? It is this one. Redoing week 1. If you remember in your WHLP, there was an activity there that mentioned in a bond paper, post a picture or draw a place that you have been into. Below this picture or drawing, write 5 examples of imagery that you experienced while being there. Also, write a short paragraph of 3 to 5 sentences combining the 5 imagery you listed to describe in detail your experience in that place. So again, please dissect these directions and you will realize that you're actually expected to have these 3. You need to have a drawing or a picture, then the list of examples of imagery, and lastly, your paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences with the imagery that you listed. And doing week 3. In week 3, your WHLP for creative writing mentioned that in a 1 sheet of intermediate paper, write a 10-sentence paragraph about your most favorite person, food, or place. So it can be a person, it can be about the food, it could be about the place. And then in your paragraph, underline 3 imagery, circle 3 diction, and box 3 figures of speech. So if we dissect again these directions, you would realize that you are expected to write a 10-sentence paragraph. Then you need to underline 3 imagery, circle 3 diction, and box 3 figures of speech. Do not forget to label your figure of speech. For example, you've decided to make use of simile. So box that simile, and on top of that, you write simile. Then in the next sentence, you've decided to make use of hyperbole. Box that hyperbole, and on top of that, you write hyperbole. So I hope it's very clear now. So I am expecting you to pass to me 2 outputs for next week. Now the question is, Ma'am, how would I know if I need to pass my activity, or I need to redo my activities for week 1 and 3? If you realize that you really did not follow instructions, of course you know whether you're able to follow properly or not, then that is the time for you to redo. But if you think that your outputs already followed all these instructions, then there's no need for you to redo them. However, I will be sending to you screenshot of the list of names of those who were able to perform the activities properly, because many of you did not get scores for this. So I'm giving you the chance once more to do the activities for better scores. Thank you very much, and that ends our video. I'll see you next time.